I still remember the first time I saw her, sitting by the window of a small art cafe, sunlight catching her hair like a halo. I didn't know then that one moment of curiosity would lead me into the most life-changing story of my life. My name is Ethan Ward, and I never believed in destiny until I met her, the girl who taught me what love really means. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that can change your heart, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindly Tube. Because sometimes, one story can make someone believe in love again. It all started on a quiet Sunday morning. My best friend, Ryan, called me out of the blue and told me about a blind date. He said he'd found the perfect girl for me, smart, kind, and funny. I wasn't really into blind dates. I had just come out of a failed relationship that left me questioning my worth. But Ryan was insistent. "Trust me, man. She's different," he said. Against my better judgment, I agreed. When I arrived at the cafe, I scanned the room nervously. Then I saw her, a girl with soft brown eyes and a gentle smile. She waved, a little awkwardly, and motioned for me to come over. Her name was Clara Bennett. She had long chestnut hair tied loosely in a braid, a sketchbook resting open beside her coffee. She looked up and smiled when I sat down, and for the first time in months, I felt calm. The conversation was effortless. Clara had a warm laugh and an old soul kind of wisdom. She loved painting, sunsets, and stories of people who found beauty in pain. We spoke for hours, losing track of time, as if the world outside the cafe had disappeared. I remember thinking, wow, she's incredible, but as I got up to leave, I noticed something, a quiet hesitation in her movement. Her left leg seemed stiff, unmoving. She leaned on a lightweight crutch by her chair. She caught my glance, her eyes flickering for just a moment. Then she smiled, as if pretending I hadn't noticed. I didn't ask. I didn't want to make her uncomfortable. Days turned into weeks. Clara and I began seeing each other regularly. She had this rare way of seeing the world, noticing beauty in small, overlooked things. The way light touched water. The laughter of strangers. The smell of old books. Being around her felt like healing. But something was off. She avoided talking about her past, and she always wore long skirts that brushed the floor, hiding her left leg. Then one evening, Ryan came over. He looked uneasy. "Ethan," he said quietly, "I need to tell you something. About Clara." My stomach twisted. He explained that Clara had been in a terrible car accident 3 years ago. A drunk driver ran a red light. She survived, but her spinal nerves were partially damaged, leaving her half-paralyzed on her left side. My chest tightened. I couldn't process it. Not because of her disability, but because I realized Ryan had known, and he hadn't told me. "I just wanted you to meet her without bias," he said. "She's been hurt before. Guys leave when they find out." That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed every conversation, every moment, the way she always sat by walls, how she never walked fast, how she avoided pity like poison. I wasn't angry at her. I was angry at myself for not noticing sooner, for not earning her trust enough for her to tell me. The next day, I went to see her. She was sitting in the park, sketching the horizon. When she saw me, her face lit up, but faded when she saw the look on mine. "You know, don't you?" she said softly. I nodded. For a moment, silence sat heavy between us. Then she said something that shattered me. "You don't have to stay if it's pity, Ethan. I've been through that before. Guys stay out of guilt, and it hurts more when they finally leave." I took a deep breath and said, "Clara, I'm not here out of pity. I'm here because you make my days brighter. Because you taught me how to see beauty again." Her eyes filled with tears, but she looked away. "You don't understand. I used to dance. I used to run marathons. Now I can't even climb stairs without pain. I lost who I was. I don't need someone to remind me what I've lost." I reached for her hand. "Maybe you didn't lose who you were," I said softly. "Maybe you just found a new way to shine." From that day on, things changed. Clara slowly began letting me in, telling me about her struggles, her pain, and her quiet triumphs. She had spent months in rehabilitation, learning how to walk again with braces and determination. She told me about the nights she cried herself to sleep, feeling half alive, and the mornings she forced herself to get up anyway. I began helping her with small things, carrying her art supplies, walking beside her during her therapy sessions, sitting quietly as she painted through her pain. But what amazed me most was her strength. She didn't want to be saved. She wanted to be seen. As the weeks passed, I realized how much I loved her, not because she was perfect, but because she wasn't. Her scars told stories of survival, and her smile was proof of courage. I wanted to spend my life reminding her of that point. One afternoon, while we were painting by the lake, Clara dropped her brush. It rolled into the water, and she laughed softly, shaking her head. "Guess the world didn't want my art today," she said. I waded in, grabbed the brush, and handed it back. "Maybe the world just wanted a closer look at your strength," I said. She looked at me, then really looked. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she whispered, "Why are you like this? Why don't you run away like everyone else?" I smiled and said, "Because I've already been where you are, Clara. Broken. Scared. Alone. And someone stayed for me. Now it's my turn." That was the moment she leaned forward and rested her head against my chest. We didn't say anything more. We didn't need to. Over the next few months, our bond deepened. We started volunteering together at a rehab center, helping others facing physical challenges. Clara began giving art therapy classes to children recovering from injuries. Seeing her laugh with them, her joy spreading through the room like sunlight, was one of the most beautiful things I'd ever witnessed. Then came the day of her first art exhibition. She had painted a collection titled Unbroken Grace. Every canvas told a story of pain, hope, and healing. She was nervous, her hand trembling as she adjusted her brace beneath her dress. "What if people just see me as the girl in a wheelchair?" she whispered. I knelt beside her and said, "Then we'll remind them that strength isn't in walking perfectly, it's in never giving up." When she took the stage to speak, her voice quivered at first. But as she spoke about her journey, the accident, the fear, the loneliness, you could feel the entire room holding its breath. Then she said something that made the crowd erupt into applause. "I used to think being loved while broken was impossible. But someone taught me that love doesn't heal you, it walks beside you until you heal yourself." That night, as we walked out of the gallery under the starlit sky, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "You changed my life, Ethan." I shook my head. "No, Clara. You changed mine. You showed me what real courage looks like." Months later, I took her back to the same cafe where we first met. I brought her favorite sketchbook and asked her to open it. Inside, I had drawn a small ring inside a heart, with the words, "Will you let me walk this life with you?" Her hands trembled as she looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. "Ethan," she whispered, "you don't have to." I stopped her gently. "Clara, I'm not staying because I have to. I'm staying because I want to. Because I love you, all of you." She said yes through tears, and the cafe erupted in applause from strangers who had witnessed something rare, love in its purest form. That was 2 years ago. Today, Clara's art has inspired thousands. She still paints every morning by the window, sunlight touching her hair like that first day I saw her. Her limp remains, but so does her laughter, her fire, her unshakable grace. And every time I see her smile, I'm reminded that love isn't about perfection, it's about presence, because sometimes, the most beautiful souls are the ones who've been broken and still choose to love anyway. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindly Tube, where we celebrate real stories of love, courage, and second chances.